Hi, guys. We are so excited to share that today we are the ones getting interviewed by one of our favorite podcasts, Forever 35.
Forever 35 is co-hosted by Doree and Elise, two friends just like us who love talking about serums, friendship, and self-care.
We hope you enjoy.
Welcome to GlowJob, the beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. We're the only podcast to make you hotter and smarter.
We are so excited to be talking to the women from the GlowJob podcast. Welcome to Forever 35.
Well, we're GlowJob. We are the beauty podcast to make you hotter and smarter. And my name is Julia. I'm one of the co-hosts.
And my name is Sasa. And we are two best friends who just love to dish on the beauty industry, business, pop culture, everything in between.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Well, it's great to be able to do this collaboration. I'm Elise Hugh.
And I'm Doree Shafrir, and we are the hosts of Forever 35, which is a podcast about the things we do to take care of ourselves. And we like to say we're just two friends who like to talk a lot about serums. We are not experts. We just like beauty and skincare and self-care, and that's kind of what our podcast is about. So today we are just going to have a chat between the two shows, and I'm really excited to get into it. Julia and Sasa, can you tell us a little bit about where did this podcast come from? Why did you want to start this show?
So Julia and I met kind of serendipitously. We had both at that time recently moved to LA. I moved from New York to LA. Julia relocated from SF to LA. And we both enrolled in an esthetician program, mostly purely out of just interest. Yeah. We're definitely self-proclaimed beauty nerds. Didn't come from the beauty background at all. But I can speak for myself. I came from a fashion background and then have been working in finance. I just was so fascinated, especially sort of by the beauty entrepreneur and the rise of the beauty entrepreneur. But I only knew it from the financial side of things. So esthetician school seemed like, a way to learn practical beauty, right? And Julia, I saw her on the first day of class. Literally, we were in the very first class together. We were both waitlisted for this one in particular, and there were only 2 seats left, and there were 20 people in the classroom fighting for 2 seats. And so it was kind of yeah, right? I know.
It was the wild west. Literally, it was the Hunger Games, just competing for these last 2 seats. But luckily, we both got in. Mm-hmm. And then, we had to sit in the back of the class because we hadn't signed up. But, we were sitting in the back and became fast friends after that. And it really just started off as an organic friendship, going out for coffee, going out for dinner. But the common theme was that we were always talking about beauty, because that to us, it's just fun, right? We love sharing, what's going on, the new launches, kind of how it's relating to pop culture, what we're seeing on social media,
the M&As that are happening in beauty.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I think, with Sasa's background in finance and I come from a tech background, I think what was interesting with our conversations is that we were constantly kind of tying in not just, the glitz and the glamour of beauty, but also kind of what goes on behind the scenes and understanding from a more business lens and just kind of chit-chatting about that. But even going to esthetician school, we were, LA's a great place to be in the beauty industry. And even as outsiders, we were finding ways to go to events and just, learn more about the industry as to just, regular schmegular girls. And, from there, we just realized let's start a podcast. And it was just really organic after that. And we officially launched in February of this year.
Wow. Well, you sound great. You sound great together. Yeah. I have to know, are you both estheticians now? Did you get licensed?
No.
The thing about esthetician school, and this is sort of our take, it's a great place to learn the basics. And pretty early on, you can determine whether or not you actually want to be an esthetician. And very early on, we both decided we do not want to be estheticians. So
and in reality, I think a lot of the program, like, yes, there are maybe like 75% of the people want to go and become practicing estheticians, whether it's like facialists or waxers. And then the rest are just kind of like Sasa and I, where it's a little bit more of a hobby. But the school we went to, it was also super modular. It wasn't like one of those like 9 to 5, 5 days a week programs. You just kind of take a class as you go. So when we both signed up, we were just kind of dipping our toes into the water. But yeah.
So what did you learn in esthetician school that like really surprised you?
You know, what was surprising to me was how basic the level of training is, because you have to realize like esthetician programs are training you to pass the state board. It's almost like, you know, when you take like an SAT class,
teaching
like,
to the test.
Yep, exactly.
Got
so it's
it.
like that.
Okay.
That is the end goal. And like the state board is trying to make sure that you
don't get sued.
Yeah, you don't get sued. You don't cut someone. You don't get someone infected with a bacterial infection. Like, and those are all really important things.
I was just going to say, all sound important.
Valid.
They're definitely important. I think that like the biggest thing that you learn in esthetician school is how to take care of wounds. Out of everything, it's how to take care of wounds, and really just knowing that if ever there's a weird situation, you don't know what you're looking at, to refer them to a doctor or a medical specialist. But it's really just that like disinfection, sanitation, and referring people to doctors with a little bit of skincare sprinkled in between.
Okay.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, then we'll have you talk to us about like wound care, you know, just like quick wound care tips.
We got you, honestly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We don't have like as interesting of an origin story. We were introduced by a shared editor, Doree and myself.
Oh, no way.
Both of us have written books. Doree's written 2. She's written a novel and a memoir. And the freelance editor who helped Doree with her memoir, also, I then hired several years later to help me with my book, Flawless, which is about the rise of Korean beauty. And she was great. She like spoke really glowingly of Doree. And I think Carrie introduced us so that I could get a copy of my book to Doree, who she then blurbed. You know, she like wrote a little nice quote about it, which is on the back of the book to this day. And we still hadn't met in person. But then I don't know if y'all know Dr. Becky, this parenting guru. She's like a big parenting coach, and she has this brand called Good Inside, and her book Good Inside was coming out, and that's where Doree and I actually met. Like, we met at a brunch for yet another book. So we sound like very literary people.
I love it.
Which we are not actually in real life, but we met there, and Doree had been running Forever35 and hosting Forever35 with the co-founder Kate Spencer since 2018?
2018.
Yeah, so Forever35 has been around for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, Elise came on just over a year ago. Kate was leaving, and I was like faced with this question of, do I keep the show going? Do we just stop? What do we do? Do I do it by myself? Like, I don't know. And then Elise and I had lunch, and I was like, this seems great. And then I was like, this might sound crazy, but would you ever want to like host the show with me? And she, as I now know, Elise is like game to try anything. So she was like, sure.
That's what you need in a co-host.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I also worked at Super Salad. So yes, I basically say yes to all jobs.
Wait, that's amazing. Elise, had you done podcasting before, or is this your first? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you have some experience.
No, yeah. I've been a broadcast journalist my whole adult life. So I went to school for broadcast journalism. I went to Missouri, which is the world's oldest journalism school. They take a lot of pride in that. And then from there, I did a lot of TV news. So I was like a TV news reporter standing outside a crime scene at like the 11 o'clock news. I guess I would say the latter half of my 20s and my 30s, I was at NPR. So a lot of audio, but I find podcasting to be so much like less contrived and less stuffy and like more conversational. And so now I like podcast for a living, basically. And
I just remember like when, like a couple months after we started, because we were like, we'll do it as a trial. Like we can, Elise, if you're not into it, we can just do it for the summer. And then if you don't want to do it anymore, you don't have to. And I remember we had coffee and Elise was like, wait, so people like that we're just kind of like talking about ourselves. And I was like, yes.
That was so surprising to me because like as journalists, like as, you know, like very capital J hard news journalists, you're always taught to leave yourself out of stuff. Like don't bring in your own personal takes and like nobody wants to know about what's going on with your dog.
Yes.
But
I mean, well, we're getting questions
opposite.
we're getting questions like, we want to get to know Elise better. Like, talk more about what she's into. And Elise was like, what? Oh, okay.
Oh, I love that. No, it's so interesting just watching how like parasocial relationships form through podcasting. Because with your background in like broadcast journalism and talking about how it's so different than just kind of the relaxed nature of podcasting, like one of the things that we've discovered, like coming from seeing a lot of beauty content and just kind of what's out there, like the big difference is not that beauty content is stuffy, but like most of it is short form content, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's been our favorite thing to really get more than, I don't know, 30 seconds to talk about, you know, like what's actually going on.
Yeah.
What topics in beauty have you found to be especially like controversial or like hot topics lately?
I think our first super viral episode was about the history of Estee Lauder. So we almost did it like an acquired style where it was quite lengthy and we really went through 100 years of beauty. But then, you know, talking about the pop culture things, like whether it be like Love Island or the Maha movement or, you know, like Republican makeup trends. Like I think we tend to lean on the side where like we just like to, you know, we're not taking a side, but just have something a little spicier to say, I think has always been fun for us.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of like, we like to have the kind of dialogue that you want to hear, but you're not hearing. So like another episode we did was on the morals and ethics of dupes and dupe culture, which is the queen of dupes, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, nothing is binary totally to us. There's like multiple sides to the story.
Where did y'all land on dupe culture? Because we just had a guest on not too long ago, and she wasn't even on yet. We have just interviewed a guest who was like, I think dupe culture is on its way out. Like that is something that is not going to stand the test of time.
You know, when we were first planning the episode, we literally did it like a speech and debate as we were doing prep, where I was team con, anti-dupe, and Sasa was team pro. And I think giving ourselves that assignment going into it really helped us to kind of unpack both sides and where people are coming from. But I think overall, our consensus was dupes are okay. They're good, right? And I think, you know, depending on what people are dealing with from like, you know, an economic background or like the availability of petty cash for them to spend on a beauty product, you know, we think that dupes are a great option for people to not spend outside of their means, which is always going to be the right choice.
You can play devil's advocate to that in, you know, these brands who spend so much in R&D and like rightfully so, they're pissed off when a brand blatantly just rips off like the branding, the back label, like everything, all that. And so there's definitely a fair argument there. And that's part of like the moral quandary of a dupe, right? But I don't know, hot take, I don't think dupes are going anywhere. Like there are, it's not. So. If there's a demand, right? And there's clearly a demand from the consumer, it's never going to go away. Everyone always wants a cheaper option. And the platforms that we shop off of nowadays, like they only incentivize that, right? Like let's get it cheaper, faster.
And I think the only difference is like whether it's a dupe or whether it is like an absolute fake of a product. And so like, for example, if you go on Alibaba, you can literally see Rhode products, Medicube products, any trendy product. They will sell it to you for 2 cents on the dollar, right? But it's not the same formula. It's literally only the packaging. So it's like, it's those kinds of dupes that we are not for. But, you know, whether it's like a NYX or an e.l.f., you know, I can't say anything bad about them.
I think that's such an important distinction. Like, is it a fake? Is it actually trying to say that it is this other more expensive product, or is it an imitation of it? And I think sometimes those distinctions get blurred.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And perhaps like it's on kind of a little on purpose, because even some of the really great dupes, like as Julia was mentioning, like the NYX and the e.l.f.s and the, what is that Australian brand? Is it Emco? The brand that's
Emco.
I think their entire line is, I mean, their founder has even said, our business strategy is to create dupes. Like that's how we grow. So it's a little bit in the like DNA makeup of some of these brands is to try to emulate the higher end brand as much as possible. But you're right, just like straight out counterfeits are dangerous and can really mess your skin up.
Dupe, anti-counterfeit.
Yeah.
That's where we'll draw the line.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that this conversation helped kind of put a finer point on it. That's great. And then my follow-up is, of course, like, what are your favorite dupes? Your imitations, not counterfeit products. You mentioned e.l.f., you mentioned NYX, but as you have tried them out in your own lives, like, are there certain products that you like that kind of emulate another product that you think is close to the real thing or as great as the real thing or even better?
One product I think that gets duped so much is the Dior lip oil. You know, that, and it's like, it's beautiful, right? It's aesthetic. It's got that pretty little cap. It's see-through. It's Dior, and it looks nice on your vanity. Honestly, I'm trying to think of a few that I like, but a lot of brands have duped that product since. And quite frankly, like, they're all quite nice for a fraction of the cost. So like, right? Yeah.
Sure. And for me, like when I think about dupes, like I like a makeup dupe, but I am way more skeptical when it comes to a skincare dupe. And it's only because like when you have an understanding of like formulation and the delivery of active ingredients, like the likelihood of a company being able to dupe like hard science is way lower than just duping something like in the color cosmetic space. So
except for this one essence that I need to just really ride hard for.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so SK2 makes its really famous facial treatment essence that sells like one bottle every 3 seconds or something around the world. It's $190 and it looks just like water, right? But about 10 years ago, I discovered that Misha, which is like a storefront Korean beauty brand, they make a dupe of it called like First Treatment or something essence. And it's basically the same.
Yeah, the pH that SK2 uses, it's really only like a galactomyces ferment filtrate, right? And you can see that ingredient in so many toners, like the Ordinary just released one, right? And so it's not the most expensive ingredient to formulate with. So I'm not surprised that like Misha would crank out a good one.
I don't know what words you just said there when you were talking about all those ingredients, but I totally believe you.
You know, I think that's part of the okay, so this actually brings up a really interesting topic because it's like, because some of these ingredients in skincare are words with a bunch of syllables that we are not familiar with, they make it sound as if it's like spooky and mystical and like, ooh, this is too complicated for you to understand, which is why it's almost $200. But when you boil it down, a lot of these ingredients are so cheap to like when they buy them in bulk because they're buying these from ingredient suppliers. I think what K-Beauty has done so well has been to formulate products using these kinds of ingredients and introducing them at price points that are like sub $50 and way more accessible, and also doing a really good job of marketing, you know, or explaining why these ingredients are efficacious. I feel like that kind of like Eurocentric prestige skincare is kind of got a rival in K-Beauty, which is made it a lot easier to just like disseminate.
For sure.
It is called the Misha Time Revolution, the First Essence. This is the dupe. And it's $19.
This is like this is like a famous dupe of that essence.
10% of the cost of the original.
Crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah. I mean, but that also kind of goes to show you the margins. Like the margins in you know, you can price one product at $190 and then another product at $19.99. And yet I bet you they both are profitable companies, you know, doing quite well.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah. What are your guys' favorite dupes besides the Misha essence?
Well, that's mine. I feel like it's like I will ride hard for that product basically forever. Dor, what about you?
I'm trying to think. I do use a NYX concealer that I really like. I don't know if it's like a specific dupe of like a specific concealer. It's the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop. I assume it probably is. I just don't know like which. I'm like Googling.
Like which brand
what it could be a dupe for, because it's I think it's really good, and it's of course, you know, like $8 or something.
I love
so that's one of the drugstore products that I am pretty loyal to.
But another thing that like a lot of these makeup companies will do is like they're not only duping like the product, but they even will dupe colors, right? So like famous colors and famous shades, like whether it's like the NARS Orgasm Blush, right? Like there's so many brands that will kind of come out with a color as similar as possible to that. But that's why people like them, because you know, getting as close as possible to the original cult classic.
Totally. Can I ask, you know, your podcast is called GlowJob, and I will say you are both truly glowing. So could we get a little rundown of your skincare and makeup routines, please?
You know, I think we both follow the same mantra, KISS, which is keep it simple, stupid, because look, you could do a lot of damage to your skin by putting way too much shit on it. And I think sometimes people think, you know what I mean? Yeah, people think more is more. It's really not. Your skin will be so pissed off at you. Julia is the makeup girly. Like, I come to Jules for makeup advice. So Julia actually taught me how to put on concealer properly.
I did.
Yeah, because I used to not mess with concealer. I used to hate concealer. I was like, what is the point of this stuff? It's like goopy. It's so confusing. Like,
I mean, maybe you didn't have anything to conceal. So,
oh,
you
no.
Very young.
It's so nice that you say that. I mean, we're almost 35. Like we're closer to 35 than not. But let me see, like if I had to break it down, I think one of the challenging things is like, and I'm sure you guys are in a similar position, but we get sent a lot of product, like more product than we will ever be able to use. And, you know, going to esthetician school, you know how fickle your skin barrier can be. So we are quite picky. So Sasa and I, you know, we do a full ingredient deep dive and check of every single product we use before we put it on our faces. But some of my favorite brands, we've been doing a lot of exploration into K-beauty lately. Like we're calling it now, it's the summer of K-beauty. We're seeing so many launches at Sephora, at Ulta, right? Olive Young is coming out here. So we've been dabbling a lot with new K-beauty products. And also for me, like I've been switching my routine and incorporating more Korean makeup products. So like Misha, I really like. Cleo for base, the Fui with those little jello pudding pots, I think are really fun.
A new Korean makeup brand that we discovered recently that I'm actually really enjoying, and I think is coming to Ulta pretty soon, is Unleasha.
Yes.
I don't know it.
It's so fun. Oh my God, you guys, it's so fun. It's color cosmetics. They're known for their glitters and like glitter shadows.
Yeah.
I'm not usually like a big glitter shadow person because it can get too like cutesy. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Too glittery.
Really?
Right.
Yeah. I'm not trying to go to like a Taylor Swift concert right now. Like, it's like that's the kind of vibe I usually think of. But they're like, they do these really beautiful nude palettes with a really gorgeous range of colors.
The K-beauty, like everything that they do is just a little bit different. Because nowadays, anytime I feel like I go into Sephora, I feel like every brand is just kind of copying each other with every launch. Like, oh, we're releasing a powder blush. Now we're releasing a powder blush. Now we're releasing a powder blush. And maybe it's because we weren't as savvy to K-beauty. Korean skincare, yes. Korean beauty, not so much. So like,
I agree.
These newer products are more exciting, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like the emphasis has been so much on Korean skincare for so long, and people are, like you said, kind of getting more into Korean makeup, which is cool.
Yeah, and I think like hair and body are going to be next. Like there are some crazy like K-beauty hair products out there that will like turn like they'll fix your grays.
I just got this from my dad. Actually, okay, so
what?
wait.
They will. It's not a dye. It's not a dye.
I
but
found
it's
gray
like
hair the other day, so I'm like, oh, do I pull it out or what do I do?
We're gonna send you the link.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this brand. It's called Moda, and basically, like my dad has always had like a full head of black hair. He's been very lucky. He's in his like mid 60s.
Yeah, my dad.
And then
too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then the past couple years, he started getting some white hairs, and it has kind of like derailed him because he's not used to seeing them. And my dad is a very like simple skincare man. Like he washes his face and he uses sunscreen, and that is it. Which I'm very proud of him for doing this already. But I was just home a few weeks ago back in New York, and he was complaining about his white hairs, and I was like, "Look, Dad, like we're gonna find you a solution. Don't worry," because he doesn't want to dye it because it's like not enough to like do a whole.
It also looks
dye.
kind of funky. too.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah, you can tell.
You can always tell.
Yeah.
I don't
always
like
tell.
it when men dye their beards, especially because I'm just like,
No.
Yeah, it always looks a little like uncanny valley-y, like weird. But we heard about this shampoo from a PR agent, and she was talking about it because she got it from her dad. And so I got it for mine. It's a daily wash shampoo where you foam it up in your hair, and you're supposed to let it sit in your hair for about 2 to 3 minutes and then wash it off. And then they say by wash 10-ish, the white hair doesn't turn black, but it does turn like a darker brown, so it hides the appearance of the grays more.
oh,
So he's
interesting.
like 5 or 6 washes in. We'll have to give you an update about like when he actually, gets to the point where it makes a big change. But it's kind of cool. Like, I don't see products like that in the US,
It's so interesting because they do have it for beards. They have beard wash, right? Where you kind of foam it into your beard over time. I know this because I have a good friend who's a bear. I love, that's my favorite subsection of gay culture, bears. Dyed beards really bother me, but I noticed his beard was like darker, but still salt and pepper. And I'm like, what's happening here? And he's like, it's a beard wash.
Interesting.
And so I guess this product is like a beard wash, but for the top of your head.
Mm-hmm. We got to get this guy onto GlowJob because it seems like he can teach us a thing or two.
Wait, we can have him for BroJob.
Yeah, BroJob. Yes,
Yeah.
BroJob.
So
He's
BroJob
invited.
is, yes. So I think that we weren't recording yet, but do you want to tell the audience a little bit about your new segment?
Yes. So we just started BroJob, which is a monthly episode that we're doing. So it's every third week of the month. And we have a bro come on to GlowJob, and we do a roast or boast of his skincare and beauty routine. So we go line by line through everything that he's working with. We tell him what's working and what's not. And then we also do some other fun things. We do this segment where it's called
Tool Time.
and AKA what the fuck is this?
Yeah. And so like, it's so hilarious, like how little these guys know. So we have a bunch of cue cards with all of these random beauty products on them. And we just show beauty tools.
That's so funny.
Beauty tools. And so we'll just flash one on the screen and say, what is this? And we just like to see them sweat a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
We just like to get under their skin, just letting them know that, not everything is all about like Phillips head screwdrivers, and, just let them know that there are other tools out there that are very useful.
But like sometimes we're also like mildly impressed by some of these guys. Like we just had one on where, okay, so like, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this before, but it's like a silicone matte brush cleaner, right? So it's just like, it almost looks like if you have like pets when you have to like, you're trying to like get engagement with your dog and you put like the food in the silicone mat. So
Yes.
Oh, yes.
It's like, yeah, it's like that, but it's a brush cleaner. And we show this image to the bro and thinking like, oh, we're gonna get him with this one. And we watch his brain work from like him thinking it's like a neck massager to all of a sudden he goes, wait a second, could you clean your makeup brushes with this? And like, I'm like, how did your synapses work like that? Like, where in God's name did you pull that from? So sometimes the bros, they surprise us.
I feel like we didn't get the specific skincare and makeup routines that we both have.
Oh, so you want a full breakdown?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do this. So my go-to cleanser these days, I use the one from OneSkin. It's fabulous. It's super gentle. I use a lot of products from Lemieux. It is an esthetician baseline, but they retail to everybody. So I use their toner. So one interesting fact about Sasa and I is that we don't really use retinol products, even though we are over 30. And, it's just for personal preference. For me, I have super sensitive skin. I feel like retinol can be really intense. So I love anything with a growth factor. Lemieux has great growth factors or exosomes. I use some from Medicate or Medic8. We were just debating how that brand is pronounced. And what else do I love?
Doree loves Medicate too.
Yeah,
I do love Medicate.
Fabulous. So lots of fun products there. And then I've been using some Medicube also and just incorporating some of I had to try some of their viral jelly moisturizers because I was just so interested. And then they had that Prime Day sale. So I was just sold. I'm like, I'll try it.
Yeah.
So that's skincare. And then for makeup, I mentioned Clio Cosmetics. I've been using their cushion foundation. Love it. I love Say Beauty. I love Tower 28, a
Me
good
too.
cream product.
They're great.
I have their cream blush on right now.
Me
Ooh,
too.
nice. Yeah.
And then Anastasia Dip Brow. I hold that true and true since 2016. I am still repping that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about my routine. So I do a double cleanse in the evenings. So I like Hanskin's. They have a PHA oil-based cleanser that I love. It's just honestly the texture, and it's really great at breaking down just oil and grime and makeup. My cleanser, I alternate. Right now I'm using a Beauty Stat cleanser, but like Julie was saying before, I've been incorporating a little bit more K-beauty recently. I've been really enjoying the Mixsoon Centella Azatica essence that they came out with. And it's lovely. Honestly, like the texture is great.
And their bean essence is good too.
Yeah, the bean's good. But the Centella one is like my favorite. And, you know, I sometimes deal with perioral dermatitis around my mouth. And it's like kind of, it's one of those like inflammatory things that like, honestly, doctors have no idea what causes it. And there are just no ways to really like treat it. The simplest way to treat perioral dermatitis is just to go kiss, keep it simple, stupid, and just use very minimal products. But this essence has been so calming, so I really enjoy it. At night, right now I'm using the Saatchi Skin
Alpha Pigmentation Corrector.
I've been really enjoying that. They're a lovely London-based brand, and it's great for anyone with melasma and hyperpigmentation. I don't know if you can see on camera, but I have like freckles for days, and like they just never go away. They only get stronger and stronger, and it's cute sometimes, but you know, you got to get them under control. And I also like to use the Bakuchiol at night because I don't like using retinol products. So I have one by Matter of Fact that I really enjoy. And yeah, I'm trying to think. I also use some Lemieux products like their moisturizer. And my go-to sunscreen right now is
I forgot my sunscreen.
I know.
How could you?
How could you?
I'm appalled.
But right now I'm using the Ultraviolet. I have a mineral sunscreen that I really enjoy. And Ultraviolet makes a great lip SPF too. That is the hardest thing for me to find, is like a lip SPF that I actually want to reapply.
I just got their spray SPF.
So here's my gripe about spray SPFs is the only way to formulate a spray SPF is that it has to be really high in alcohol content. And I don't like the smell of
alcohol on your body. Yeah.
Yes. You know what I mean? Like when that spray comes out, I feel like I'm in a doctor's clinic and I feel like I'm about to vomit. And so I can't stomach that smell. But it is the only way to stabilize a chemical spray sunscreen.
It's the best one there is, because I've tried a lot. Right now I'm doing this exercise of trying out every single Korean sunscreen I can get my hands on. And just like
fun.
I know. It's been like 10, right? So I've gone through a lot. I know. It's been exciting, but also there's like new ones dropping every single day. So it's really hard to keep up. It's like that stat, like you will never eat at every restaurant in New York City because more will open up before you ever finish. That's how I feel about this Korean sunscreen experiment.
Well, let me just recommend, if you haven't tried the Dominas sunscreen.
I have tried that one.
I like it. And it's like there's a little bit of pigment to it. And I used it on vacation a couple of weeks ago. And it was pretty solid, except thicker than I like.
That's what I was going to say. It's a little bit thicker than your average Korean sunscreen, but it's supposed to be the most popular one amongst Korean golfers. So, you know, and it's supposed to be a dark spot, like really focusing on hyperpigmentation.
That's what I was going to say. It just seemed it's thicker than I like. I like something a little bit not as creamy, but it ended up being very protective. So there's that. So did it serve its function? Like it. Yes. Yeah. So if I'm going to go out like hiking, the Dominas Korean sunscreen is very good. So before we wrap up, is there, and listeners, we will make sure that on our Forever35 everything that these ladies just talked about, we will include in our show notes, but also on our Shop My page in case that you want to try some of them. But is there anything that you want to leave us with? Any like wound care tip, perhaps, that you learned at esthetician school?
Well, the first sign of blood, you stop whatever you're doing.
Always wear gloves?
Yeah. No. You know, honestly, and this really isn't wound care, and I think I've said it now 3 times, but I really want to emphasize, like, less is more, especially with your skin. Yeah. And I think we both of us, we love the beauty industry. It's like fabulous. It's so much fun. Skincare and beauty is just like, we could consume this stuff all day. But the beauty industry's incentive is also to get you to buy and try as many things as they possibly can.
They are the ones pushing the 15-step agenda.
Yes. They are behind that. So, you know, just be smart with what you're purchasing and putting on your skin. And also patch test. I know it's so like it sounds so boring and like annoying because when you get a new product, you're like, I want to try it right now. But like, let's save our skin just like one day.
Yeah,
you know?
you'll
That
appreciate
actually-
your patch
sorry.
test when it actually reacts.
I know we're wrapping, but I have to ask, what is your take on like when people try a new product and they break out and then people are like, oh, your skin's just purging. Is that real?
Purging can be real when it comes to certain products, like especially in like the retinoid category, right? So,
makes
you
sense.
know, typically like you have to understand how your skin cycle works, right? And your average skin cycle is going to be about a month long. A little bit, you know, it changes depending on your age, but let's say about a month long. So that is usually how long you really want to try a product for, unless it gives you an allergic reaction. And that's going to be different. That's going to be like hives. You're going to turn red right away. It's going to be itching. It's going to be swelling. So not exactly purging. But if you have an allergic reaction, stop immediately and just switch to like water and just like use water only with like a moisturizer, unscented moisturizer. But, you know, if it's purging, sometimes you got to push through it until your skin can build up, you know, the tolerance to react to it.
But also here is my hot take, which is like your skin is also your largest living organ. So, you know, maybe we don't need to push it. Maybe that is your sign.
Right.
Of,
Yeah.
and part of the reason why I stopped using tretinoin, which is the prescription form of retinol, right? Like my skin was saying, you know, I don't think I'm enjoying this anymore. I remember I had a year and a half of like great results with tretinoin. And then by year 2, my skin was like,
It's kind of like it's kind of like doing like really intense HIIT or Barry's boot camp. Let's say that. Like, let's say your tret is Barry's boot camp. Yes, it's a great workout and it's really good for you. But do you have to do it to get your dream body?
Right.
No.
Right.
You know, that's
God,
kind
I
of
hope not.
Right.
that's how I would frame it.
Yeah. Pick and
Love
choose
that.
what works for you.
Yeah.
If you're a Pilates
Yeah.
girl, do Pilates.
Yes.
You're a HIIT girl, do HIIT.
I like long walks. So that's
Julia, Sasa, thank you so much. Yeah, y'all were awesome. It was a delight to get to chat with you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. This was so much fun.